They say family is supposed to be your safe place. But what happens when you realize you've only ever been their safety net and never truly family? My name is Jake. I'm 31, and for most of my life, I thought I knew what family meant. I believed in sacrifice, in loyalty, in being the one to step up when no one else would. I paid the bills, kept the lights on, and carried the weight my parents and sister refused to shoulder. I convinced myself it was love, that maybe if I just kept giving, one day, they would see my worth. But the truth has a cruel way of showing up when you least expect it, and mine arrived on Christmas Day. I showed up at my parents' house holding an envelope of cash, extra money to cover their utilities for the month. I thought I was being kind, helping my mother, Margaret, who had told me she was too sick, too frail, to watch my daughter Mia for even a single night. But when I walked through the door, my world froze. There she was, smiling on the couch, surrounded by Lisa's kids, my sister's children, laughing, healthy, and looking more energetic than I'd seen her in years. For the woman who couldn't watch my child, she looked perfectly fine babysitting 3 others. The cash in my hand suddenly felt like a brick. My mother's smile faltered when she saw me, but she quickly recovered, pretending everything was normal. My father avoided my eyes, sinking into his recliner, silent as always. I asked the question burning in my chest. You said you couldn't watch Mia because of your health. So what is this? The room fell silent. My mother tried to explain. Lisa jumped in, claiming Mom just had too much on her plate. But the truth was undeniable. She was babysitting right in front of me. It wasn't about health, it was about control. In that moment, 32 years of being second best hit me like a brick wall. My mother had always favored Lisa. My father had always stayed quiet, and I had always been the one to pay for it, literally. I told them flat out that I finally understood. I was never their son. I was their wallet, their backup plan, their fool. Lisa smirked, calling me dramatic. My mother sighed, painting me as the problem. My father stayed silent, and something inside me snapped. I walked out that night and decided I was done. Done funding their lives, done being manipulated, done chasing a love that was never real. The next morning I canceled everything. The rent, the utilities, the car insurance, the groceries. Then I sent one final text. You're on your own now. Good luck. The chaos that followed was almost laughable. Missed calls, desperate emails, my mother's tearful Facebook post painting me as the ungrateful son who abandoned his poor, sick mother. But I didn't flinch. For once I told the truth, publicly. I explained how I'd been paying their bills for years, how my mother lied about being sick, and how she refused to help with my child, but had no issue watching Lisa's. The support was overwhelming. Friends, relatives, even neighbors spoke up, exposing the lies. Lisa's perfect image crumbled under scrutiny, and for the first time in my life, I wasn't the fool. But of course, guilt is a hard habit to break. Days later, my parents showed up at my door, begging for another chance. My mother pleaded. My father tried to reason, but I stood firm. I asked her one simple question. What have you done for me in the last decade that wasn't about what I could do for you? She had no answer, and with that, I shut the door. Life after cutting them off felt lighter than I ever imagined. Erin, my partner, and Mia, my little girl, became my true family. We took trips, started looking for a new home, and for once I felt peace. But then something unexpected happened. My father came to me alone. No manipulations, no excuses, just honesty. He admitted he had failed me, not just recently, but my entire life. He confessed that he had been a coward, too afraid to stand up to my mother, too comfortable staying silent. He told me he was proud of me for doing what he never could, walking away. It didn't erase the years of neglect, but it was the first genuine moment I'd ever shared with him. For the first time, I believed he saw me, not as a wallet, not as a backup plan, but as his son. And that's when I finally understood something powerful. Family isn't defined by blood. It's defined by love, respect, and loyalty. The ones who stand by you, who see your worth without conditions, those are your real family. I stopped chasing approval from people who would never give it. I stopped bleeding for people who never cared if I lived or died. and I started building a life with the ones who matter. Aaron, Mia, and the people who chose to love me without strings attached. Loyalty is not owed, it is earned. Don't let guilt chain you to people who drain your soul. Protect your peace, honor your worth, and never be afraid to walk away from anyone. Yes, even family who refuses to love you the way you deserve. Because the family you build, the one that truly sees you, will always be worth more than the one that only ever took from you.